Hi, I'm Ashlyn. This is the first mini video to talk about intercultural communication. So to answer the first question of what is my culture, I feel like my culture consists of many different aspects. I'm a Chinese American, born into a Christian household. So growing up, I was taught the traditions and expectations of a Chinese household, but also taught the beliefs and values of Christianity. I decided to combine some of the questions together because I felt like it transitioned a little smoother. So second question is, how did I learn about my culture, and was my culture something I was born into, something I learned, or a combination of both? So my culture is something that I was born into. However, the older I got, the more I learned about it. And I learned about my culture when I was very little, and those fundamentals kind of carried over to when I got older and was able to think and analyze for myself. I feel like growing up, I realized that I wasn't fully Chinese in the sense of like my culture and traditions, but I also wasn't fully American. And I felt like in high school that made it very difficult because I didn't fit into a specific box. But I think as I'm growing older, I'm realizing that it's better to not fit into such a specific box because I'm able to broaden my perspectives. And so the third question is talk about some patterns of traditions, beliefs, values, norms, meanings, and symbols that exist within our culture. So some traditions and norms, first of all, is definitely respecting elders. It's like the most important thing within my culture. An example of this would be if you're at a family dinner, the oldest always eats first at the table, and typically children are always the last to eat. And this is kind of a way of like respecting those who came before you. Another thing is when receiving something from someone who's older than you, you always have to face forward and receive it with both hands. Taking it with one hand is just seen as disrespectful. Superstition's also a big thing. So like sometimes certain Chinese words sound very similar to each other, like the number 4 in death, or 9 and prosperity, or like forever, long. And so in this sense, 9 is a more favorable number, whereas 4 is considered unlucky. Colors also have a certain symbol, whereas red is known to be a very lucky color, and that's why many people wear red on Chinese New Year. And I felt like values are, I guess, like the stereotype that like, oh, Chinese culture, we always strive to be the best, especially when you have immigrant parents and grandparents who uprooted their entire family to come to America to give you a better life. And so the stereotype of like we always become doctors and lawyers, but I felt like my American belief plays into this, where it's like I believe that when you follow a career field, you want to do something that makes you happy, something you're passionate about, but also something that you're good at and you enjoy. Lastly, how does cultural background or upbringing influence my communication? I think when it comes to my upbringing, I realize I'm very soft-spoken at times, and this comes from respecting elders. We're told to never question or talk back, and so in this sense, I feel like I sometimes have a fear of speaking to those who are higher in a position of authority because I don't want to seem disrespectful or out of line. I also notice that sometimes we can be a little more passive in our conversations. We're not as confrontational. And although I'm still young, I am learning about how I can improve these weaknesses on my everyday communication skills. So thank you.